enabled them by bringing them back and you know, um, taking their vitals. People that took heroin and you don't know if they've like overdosed or they're just nodded out, and like that used to scare me. And there's no Narcan around back then, so there's little things you'd have to do. And like I learned how to do that shit, and that's like call that trap house medic. And luckily nobody ever died with me in that situation. I've never like somehow, some way, nobody I've ever been with has died. But here's the fucked up thing: like the people that I were around with, the people I hung out with, like who knew people. Like there's so many people that have overdosed and died, and like people that I used with. I remember the first one and the last one. Like very, like they were both my friends. They were both close to me, and those are the two closest people that have overdosed and died, which is tragic. Like the first one, he was. I don't think he was 30 yet. He might have been close. Like, the other one, he was 50. He was in his 50s, and he was like my brother. Like straight up. Even though I met him in my addiction, the whole time I knew him, we were both addicts. But like, he's the first person that I could say had love for me, and I had love for him. And even though we both enabled each other, we were both kind of using for the same reasons. Like we were both very sad when we used. Like we were using for very similar reasons, and it sucked. I started basically because I lost my family. Like to me, that's what it was. Like I gave up as soon as my ex left me. Like, and then I blamed it on her, even though I had already started using because shit just started getting out of control. So, I own that. Today, I fucking own that shit. Like, I would never say that today. I used to say that. Like, I lost my family because my ex left me, fucking bitch. Like, she's the one that got me using. Like, I used to fucking, try to save face. But like my fucking mentor, my sponsor used to tell me, you can't save your face and your ass at the same fucking time. So, you have to go and save your ass. And if you're just starting to go down that road, like, you went in late to work a couple times, or, you got your girlfriend or your wife upset with you, or, you missed picking up your kid one day, and, so, things start happening. And then before you know it, you just like say fuck it and turn into a full-fledged addict. So, if you would just go to a meeting, if you would just talk to somebody that's been through the same shit you have, it's not hard today. Like, YouTube's the second largest search engine in the world. Type in your issue, and that's how I started doing this. I researched this 15 years ago. I love YouTube. I used to use it to help me fix my cars. Used to use it to help me get through fucking thermodynamics and circuits 1 and 2. Those classes fucking rough. But YouTube is like the greatest do-it-yourself fucking channel there is. So like, listen, I talk to my kids now. I see my youngest son. I do still feel a little shame and shit from not having my family, right? Like, that's a big slash on my ego. But I do know that you can't save your ass and your face at the same time. Like, my ego is no longer my identity. I am who I am. Like, I don't do that shit anymore. I used to do that, back in the day when I had some sort of pride and shit to protect, like, and didn't want anybody, I didn't want anyone to think my shit stank, because I could do anything, right? Like, that is a good way to, like, motivate yourself, like, to inspire yourself. But when you're being real with somebody, or even yourself, that's the hardest thing to fucking understand is like, if you start skewing reality to make yourself feel better or make other people around you feel better, you start skewing your reality for real and you don't even notice it. Like, I legitimately believed my ex ruined my life because she left me and I started using drugs. Because that's when I found out she was with somebody else, I started using them every day after that. It was the fact that I lost my family that did kill me and fucked me up, and I felt like I didn't know what to feel, but I didn't want to feel it anymore, so I numbed it with drugs, right? And today I just gotta face it. I just gotta deal with that. Like, I was already using, I was already fucking up. Like, shit started going downhill, and I wasn't dealing with it very well. Like, we had a lot of shit going on in our family. My other son. Anyway, like, I didn't handle it great, and if I would have been able to talk with my significant other at that point, maybe we could have gotten through it because we were determined. We had been together for 6 or 7 years, and we had built. I had gotten a business degree. I was in my senior year for an engineering degree, and then when we got custody of my oldest son, I left and went to work, and we were really doing some good shit. And her dad let us stay in his beautiful house that he paid for, and he like finished paying it off like while we were staying there, and then he ended up buying another place, moving out, and he said, he's the sweetest. It was the best. It was the coolest thing I ever seen another human being do. He was like, I want these kids to have a good place to grow up. So on top of the hill where I'm from, we stayed in this 4-bedroom house with a basement with a nice wood boiler, like, and it's just it was a beautiful thing to me. I had a lot of respect. Like, that man taught me a lot. So, losing my family hit me hard, but I blamed it on somebody else. And I didn't fucking own up to that shit. And like today I'm owning up to that. And like when something's going on in my life, to my loved ones, to the people that care about me and I care about them, I tell them what's up now. I even tell people that don't fucking know me what's up, right? I'm telling you. So, well, I mean, there's a couple of you that know me and maybe 2 or 3 that don't. Yeah, it don't matter. I don't care. I'm just saying, like, listen, go to a meeting, call somebody, get a sponsor or a mentor. If you don't like the language, oh well, it's a 12-step program. 12-step programs are used in every facet of recovery now, whether it's Celebrate Recovery through the church, and they use a 12-step program. It's the same one invented by the original 100 people that made Alcoholics Anonymous in 1935 or 1939 is when they like copywrote the book, right? The first 100, and they had found that one addict or one alcoholic talking to another one changed the whole game. Like, once you talk to somebody else and admit and like started being real on that level, like they finally found, they finally did something. Like Bill Wilson was, he had searched the globe. Like, he had went and visited with Carl Jung, and Jung told him, like, not a lot of people do, and like he even tried psychedelics, and like, Bill Wilson was on a mission, and he was in the army, I believe, and whatever, like they figured out what to do, and that's what I like it. Like, I feel like that when I like get a mission or I get devoted and I have some resolve, like I will figure it out, and like I am proud of myself for that, and I'm not gonna apologize to anybody for that shit. Like, and you know what? People that aren't getting clean right now, who I love, I wish them well. There's nothing I can do because every addict gets clean on their own time. And if you're just watching this because you're wondering about somebody you love who's an addict, like go to an Al-Anon meeting. But the first things first, you can't enable an addict. Like you can't give them money. If you do, you got to go buy the food. Like don't give them money. Even $20 is too much. And I know it's a pain in the ass because I'm grateful. I had my aunt. I'm so grateful. My aunt. Even with $20, she was up my ass about making sure I wasn't using, right? Shut up. And I'm grateful for my aunt. I'll say my Aunt Ray. She the first time I got treatment, she helped me. First time I went to jail, she helped me, and I tried really hard, but it wasn't my time. She helped me out, let me work at her place, and I'm so glad because I looked at her like a mom, when I was growing up. And I had an alcoholic mom, and my cousin was my age, so I would go there. When I was in another state, we'd go there for the summers. And I'm so grateful she helped me out. And, she did tell me she felt bad for me when I was a kid, and that she wanted to take me and adopt me. And I don't know how I feel about that. I love my parents. My stepfather and my mom were alcoholics, and after my stepfather died, my mom turned into an alcoholic. I had to move in with her because she was unhealthy, and she died at the kitchen table drinking a drink and smoking a cigarette crazy on Halloween. And she's always a witch her whole life. So what a beautiful woman. Here's the thing. One of the most beautiful people, my mom, and my stepfather even. He is my second dad. My mom would try to get me to call him dad. He wasn't my dad. I had a real dad. I have an amazing dad, right? He's a little bit of a workaholic. That's fine. My stepdad was an amazing dad too. My dad went and thanked my stepfather because my dad knew that he couldn't have been there the whole time. So whatever. Two of the greatest people I've ever known in my life. One died in 2017, 7 years ago, right? And then my stepfather died in 2012. So 12 years ago, right? And here's the thing. They were both in their 60s. So the two most beautiful people I ever met in my life died a long time ago, and they didn't have to. They could both be alive right now. And it sucks. They just didn't. They didn't see a way they could get along without drinking, and they were both way against drugs. Don't even bring marijuana around, right? I think that was because they were alcoholics and they knew that. So, as long as they didn't do drugs and they were just, drinking alcohol, and that gets a lot of people. Alcohol is everywhere. I'm glad it's not my drug of choice. And yes, in NA we call alcohol drugs. I guess I didn't mean to make the video this long, but oh well. I don't care. I hope it helps somebody. Even the guy I talked to for an hour and a half on the phone, he had told me that that our doctor, and I come to find out my doctor is the head of the program I'm at, which is funny, because I need the best one. I need the best one. Anyway, he told me that they had kind of given up on him. And when he said that, like, he was pissy about it, but I get it because if you go to somewhere and you ask for help and then you don't do the things that they recommend you do, you don't take suggestion, you know, and then you leave and relapse and you go back again, that I get it. So, I helped my friend when he was lonely, and I would any other time. But here's the thing, if you don't take suggestion and do what you're supposed to do, like, there's not, it sucks so bad that, it is what it is. It takes people almost going to jail or going to jail to be able to go to rehab, to find the will. Like, how bad does it have to get for you to go? I can remember my sister came to Maine the year before my mom died, pulled me out of a trap house, brought me to the VA, and I remember they're like, listen, you can go to rehab in Connecticut or New York, and I'm in Maine, and I'm like, it might have been, it might as well have been a million miles away. So I wasn't going to go. I did, to my sister, I told her, I was like, I was ready to go to rehab right then if it was right there in, right where I went. But they didn't have the resources back then. So I just went home, stayed with my sister for a week. I actually did good. I didn't do any illegal drugs that week with my sister. It was an awesome week I spent with my sister. She left and I was right back to it. So luckily I did get caught up. But man, if anybody's out there, this has been like the weirdest year in the world with, the election, all this craziness going around. And like, I just can't believe it. It's wild. I feel good about the direction the country's going, but like, I do like, man, I pay attention to the strangest stuff, and I'm worried about China and Taiwan. Like, I'm worried about a lot of things, right? And like, I know, like, I'm ready to suit up and go if they need me, right? Like the armed services would ever want, uh, uh, you know, uh, a veteran that's been out. They have plenty of young guys to go do whatever. And like, even my youngest son and me were talking, if there was a civil war or something happened, like, I probably wouldn't be fighting in it. Like, like, it would probably be like normal, except for there'd be like battles somewhere. I don't know how it would be actually, but like, no matter what kind of thing happens, you kind of just deal with it and like change maybe a little bit, but you still gotta live and work and do the thing. Like, that's the weirdest thing about, me watching the Ukraine-Russia deal. Like, it's crazy. There's like, Ukraine and Russia are like, there's oil going through Ukraine that's like, Russia's paying Ukraine $1 billion to ensure that goes through. Like, they're still doing trade even though they're killing each other. Like, 700,000 Russian troops are dead. I don't know what the Ukraine count. That's the count I saw in on the interview he did on Lex Friedman, the president of Ukraine. I forget his name right now. It's funny, but it doesn't matter. Reach out, go to a meeting, talk to somebody, talk to anybody. If you made it this far in the video, congratulations. You actually finish what you start. good effing job. I love you. Um, you know, pray, meditate. Doesn't take long. Start with 30 seconds, right? Like, how long is 30 seconds? Phew, shouldn't be that hard to hold my breath for 30 seconds. I was getting up to 2 minutes in rehab. That's another thing. I had to start learning breathing exercises in rehab, and I did. I started doing yoga and meditation because, yes, the yoga instructor was hot, um, but she was also solid. Like, her arms were like, right, and toned and muscular, and she had a pretty nice, real nice body, and I couldn't believe she was 68 years old. She was beautiful. I thought she was, my old ass is getting up there. I'm 46. So I thought she might have been 50, right? Like, she looked a touch older than me. And, I think everyone's older than me. I forget that I'm a fucking old white bearded fuck, right? And she was beautiful. And, like, she'd been doing yoga for 20 years. Like, it was obvious to me that yoga was very beneficial for the body. And that's all she really did, she said. And she had got to advanced yoga, done hot yoga, and she did mobility exercises and stuff. But it's not like she lifted or anything. She probably did calisthenics, I think she said. But yeah, like, doing a little bit. Like, that's what I learned. Anything you want to do a little bit. You want to learn the piano? Like, practice 5 minutes a day. Today, I wanted to make a video, so I ended up making 6 videos of me playing a song, and I ended up getting like an hour's worth of practice in, and I made one video that's 10 minutes long. I'm gonna post now. I'm gonna erase the other ones, right? So this is a good way to work on yourself, work on what you're doing. All right, and I got nothing but love. And nothing but love for you, okay? So let's go out with a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the motherfucking difference. Later, over and out. Say bye, Asco.